What's up, Warriors fans, and welcome to Warriors Latest. I am your host, Max Arizin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoy the show, as I do post new Warriors videos daily. Now, in Dub Nation, this weekend was a real gut punch for all of us. We lost out on another prime target because we were patient on Jonathan Kuminga. Now, I understood in the beginning, like early on, being patient, not signing anybody, not really going after too many guys until this thing gets resolved. But it's gotten to that point where we have to do something, because early on we lost out on some targets. Yeah, we lost out on DeAndre Ayton. We lost out on a few other guys we were interested in, and that's okay. I understand. I don't think they would have been perfect fits, but losing Malcolm Brogdon to the Knicks on a minimum deal hurts. I don't care how you spin this. I don't care what way you look at it. This one stings because Brogdon would have provided that essential six-man presence off the bench. And let's not forget, he won six-man 2 years ago, and now he's on the market for a minimum deal. That in and of itself is shocking. Now, guys, do me a favor. Comment below, does six-man, like the award, mean anything anymore? Because I used to think it really meant a lot. It's like you're the MVP of the guys off the bench. But now it's like it's an afterthought. And I'm like, what happened? Being a six-man used to mean something, like with Jamal Crawford, with Lou Williams, like John Havlicek, being Lamar Odom, that guy off the bench, being Jason Terry when he won six-man. It used to mean something. Now it's just a worthless award if guys are constantly just six-man of the year, and then boom, they're not really worth that much on the free agent market. I was just looking this up the other day. Montrezl Harrell is playing overseas, and he won six-man of the year only 5 years ago with the Clippers. It just amazes me how far this award has gone and become basically meaningless. But again, the Dubs losing Malcolm Brogdon to the Knicks hurts because it would have provided a secondary ball handler that the Warriors really don't have right now. And you have Brogdon coming off the bench, knowing how to lead that second unit. That would have been great. That would have been perfect. Now, who do we have? We don't have Ben Simmons anymore because, well, his agent dropped him, so you don't know where his head's at. And it ain't coming back anytime soon. I mean, there's Seth Curry, who's pretty much a lock to sign with the Warriors if they make him the contract. And I honestly hope they do. We've got Al Horford still waiting, but the longer we wait and the longer the Warriors are patient, he might actually say, you know what, I'm going to retire instead of signing that 2-year deal. I don't have time to be on a team that has no clue what they're doing right now. And based off this summer, the Warriors are telling all free agents that we have no idea what we're doing, but sign with us anyway. And no free agent's going to be like, I want to be with that team. No free agent is going to be like that, whether it be now, next summer, or even the summer after that. So it's time for the Warriors to start showing who they are, why they are a dynasty team, and why they built this dynasty to last. So they've got to do something. But even though we lost Malcolm Brogdon to the Knicks, we still can turn this L into a W by going to the Knicks, actually, and specifically going after some of their younger players. Now, right now, the Knicks are in a bit of a roster crunch because of their current outlook. They are championship or bust right now. So they're signing veteran guys who are role players but know their roles. Like they signed Landry Shamet, who's pretty much a sniper from three, not to the point where Steph Curry is or Klay Thompson, but he's a solid three-point shooter. You put him in, he'll drain a couple of threes, you can pull him out. Now they have Malcolm Brogdon, and that creates a bit of a financial crunch as they have to really cut some costs. And a couple guys that they can do that with are the likes of Pacom Dadier, their young rookie from last year, he didn't play much, as well as Tyler Kolek. Now, the Warriors do have a $2.2 million trade exception. And the one thing I love is the fact that they can use this exception to trade for one of those players for the Knicks. Now, Dadier and Kolek didn't exactly get a lot of playing time last year, but for the contracts they're on, they're on like really, really cheap contracts that go past the Warriors championship window. And I think with the right development, they can become great starters. I mean, maybe even Dadier could become a potential star if he puts in the work and things go his way. I believe he's 20 years old right now. He was the youngest guy in the draft last year, and he's not going to get the opportunity to really showcase his abilities while he's with the Knicks in their win-now mode. So with the Warriors, I will say he's not going to get the same treatment because, yeah, he was not good last year in his time that he's shown. He was solid in the G League, but couldn't really get it done from three. But you put him in Santa Cruz with the right development coaches, I think he can become a viable starter for the Warriors down the road. Same goes for Kolek. Kolek, remember, was the Big East Player of the Year over at Marquette. He is a true court general, moving the ball around, scoring, and getting steals here and there. So I think he has the higher upside over the two of them, but right now, the Warriors don't need a court general. They need somebody who's big, young, and athletic, and Dadier really fills that role. And granted, it might take some time, and he might not make that jump immediately, but I like the fact that he's on a cheap contract and pretty much can be gotten for nothing. I mean, you look at everywhere. The Warriors are in a roster crunch, and they can't really acquire guys without really sending a bunch out. And as of right now, they don't really have much to send out outside of Moses Moody, Pods, and Buddy Hield. Yes, they do have some of those smaller contracts, but they can't really get a decent backup with those smaller contracts. They can get decent guys by trading away the likes of Moody and Buddy Hield, but they do want to keep those guys on the roster apparently because they do shoot semi good from three. I'll call that 37% they both shoot from three semi good because when you're the Warriors, you got to be shooting at least 40%. I mean, Steph, he is the greatest three-point shooter of all time. So you need to kind of keep up with Steph in order for this Warriors team to be great. They're live by the three, die by the three, but they've done a lot of living by the three, and you got to stick with what works. You can't change the game now while you're in that final stretch to win one more title. So they got to bring in someone who's bigger and who's on a cheap contract, and that's where Dadier fits in. You just say you trade that $2.2 million trade exception from the Lindy Waters trade last year, as well as maybe a future second-round pick that never conveys. Boom, you've got right there, you got a first-round pick in exchange for a second-round pick that's never going to convey, as well as a trade exception. That allows the Knicks to keep both Brogdon and Shamet, and the Warriors get a free young player, and I'm with that. But that's not the only thing the Warriors need to do regarding their trade exceptions. They need to bring in more big guys, and another guy that I talked about before is Kelly Oubre Jr. Now, he's been with the Warriors before. He showed improvement, as I've said, but he didn't really have that long of a stretch with the team in order to showcase what he's got. And for me, I want the Warriors to just go out and get him. They have an $8.8 million trade exception that they could just send over to bring Oubre back for nothing. And right now, we know the Sixers, they just want to cut costs right now. They don't care about what they get back. They'll take a future second rounder that'll never convey, but they need the cash in order to re-sign Quentin Grimes to an appropriate contract. Oubre, he's been in the league almost about, 10 years now. He just finished his 10th season last year, and he's shown he can be a scorer, he can be a rebounder, and he's still that enforcer that he was both with Washington and Phoenix. And I think to bring in a level of enforcer that he is to add to Draymond and Jimmy and their aggressive levels of defense is only going to make the Warriors better. Yes, he's not shooting the three to the point where it should be, but I think his defense will more and make up for that. So I just want this to get done. They bring in Oubre, stick him as the starting three or starting two, whichever Jimmy doesn't want to play, and then just work from there. He'll lock down those guys. He will be physical with those top-tier guards, with those bigger forwards, and really get aggressive on them. I mean, you've got guys like Giannis. You've got guys like LeBron, even though he isn't exactly in his prime anymore. He's still putting up those numbers. You take him, you lock him down, and then you have to worry down the road about Cooper Flagg when he starts his come up. Like, just guarding those like top tier forwards is going to be essential, especially if you have to go up against Ant again, along with Rudy Gobert. So I think bringing Oubre in is going to solve a lot of problems, but the Warriors have to get on it because bottom line is it's time to operate under certain assumptions. And that assumption is that Jonathan Kuminga is going to be back on that qualifying offer. There's just no way around it. Unless you're going to trade him or at least remove that option from that 2-year, $45 million deal that has already been put out there, he's signing that qualifying offer. We hear it time and time again. He's leaning towards signing the qualifying offer. He's leaning towards signing the qualifying offer. He doesn't like the 2-year deal. I mean, you got to call a spade a spade. He's going to sign that qualifying offer, and after losing Brogdon, it's time to operate under that assumption whenever he signs that deal. So we need the Warriors to act like they're going after a championship. We need them to act like it's title or bust, not just sitting and being complacent. Because if you sit and be complacent, the season's going to pass you by, and guess what? You're in the lottery. And for a team that wants to extend Steph Curry's window as much as possible, being in the lottery is not an option. So Warriors, get everything together. If Kuminga's going to sign the offer, let him sign the offer. Or else just trade him or remove that team option so he will sign that, and you can trade him at the deadline and get full value back instead of having to sign him to an inflated contract just to get a decent value back from, say, like the Suns, where, again, you could get Nick Richards and Royce O'Neal and a bunch of picks. So you know what to do. Let's make it happen. Now, that's all we have today for Warriors Latest. As always, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoyed the show. And if you have any other trade ideas that the Warriors should approach, not just with Jonathan Kuminga, but all players, or even minimum players that they should sign, feel free to comment below, as I love hearing your ideas. And as always, go Dubs.